Hey everyone, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of the Lifestyle Lifter Show. I hope everyone is having a fantastic week and enjoying the lovely sunshine here in Ireland. I'm not going to lie, ever since I arrived back from Dubai, I've been wearing the jumper every day because I still not have adjusted and I'm actually feeling quite cold. But I am slowly adjusting to the weather, and it has been pretty nice over the last few days. So long may it continue. On today's episode, though, I really want to speak about meal prepping and the importance of it and how to meal prep 1 week of meals in 1 hour for less than €3 a meal. Yes, you heard me right, less than €3 a meal. So I weighed in this morning at an all-time low of 74.65 kilos. I've not seen this weight in well over 10 years. And I've reflected back over my progress today since I started this cut about 10 weeks ago. And I started at about 83.5 kilos. So in the past 10 weeks, I've lost almost 9 kilos, which is quite a lot of weight in a relatively short period of time. The biggest game changer from me, as you might have guessed from the name of the show, has been meal prep. Meal prep, it is really just, first of all, saves me a lot of time. How many of you listen are a busy worker where you work 8 hours a day, you commute to and from work another 30, 40 minutes maybe each way, and by the time you get home from work in the evening, it could be 6 o'clock and it's been lunchtime. It could be, since 1 o'clock before you've had a proper meal. You might have stopped at a service station and grab a protein bar and a hot drink for the commute home or a piece of chocolate there as well. But you probably have not had a meal in well over 5 or 6 hours. Now, it requires discipline. It requires willpower to get home, to not eat anything, and to cook a meal for another hour and then sit down and eat it. Big thing what people have is even if they do cook their own meal when they get home from work, you're snacking. You're snacking on quote unquote healthy foods like nuts, like dark chocolate, like fruit, but all of these snacks do add up. So the benefit of mealtime is it helps you, or meal prepping is it helps you stay consistent. You will not have to go to and alleviate towards snacking on foods because you're freaking starving. I know the feeling. I've been there before. If you don't want to slip, don't go to slippery places, which is why I highly recommend meal prepping for any busy worker out there who does not have the time to prepare their meals when they get home in the evening and they lack a bit of willpower, just like myself. Also, as I said, it saves so much time. Sure, it's a chunkier time that you might block out for once a week or twice a week, but that will save you much more time in the long run. And as you mentioned as well in the title, it will also save you money. I'll speak through now how I meal prep 1 week of meals in an hour for less than €3 a meal. So my approach is relatively probably more extreme, and you probably don't need to do as many or prep as many meals as I do. I'm prepping 21 meals for the week because I'm going to have a meal for breakfast prepped, my post-workout meal with my protein oats. I will not prep that. I'll just cook that as I go. And then my lunch and my dinner, I'm going to prep all of those as well. So when it comes to meal prep and how I do it is because I have 21 meals and I'm just having the same three meals pretty much every single day for the next couple of weeks to really keep things dialed in. So same three meals means I need three source of protein. So the first thing that I will do when I'm doing my food shop is decide on my three source of protein. Now, for me, because my fat intake is relatively low, I don't need a lot of nuts, I don't need a lot of avocado, I don't use oils or anything like that. I've chose for high protein and fattier meats as a result of this. Well, not extremely fatty meats, but enough to give me enough of my omega-3s and omega-6s. So my three main sources of protein are salmon, lean beef, and turkey mince or chicken mince. Now, I will be swapping salmon for chicken starting as of tomorrow when I do another batch cook, simply because it will just save me some extra calories because my calories have dropped for the next 6 weeks. But how I've been doing it so far to date, my three main meats have been salmon, lean beef, so less than 5% fat, and turkey mince. Now, I tactfully chose all of those ones. So the way I think about it is when I'm cooking, I want to use as many of the cooking devices that I have access to as possible. So, for example, if I want to use the oven, I'm going to put the salmon in the oven. If I want to use the stove, then I want to have something frying or cooking on the stove. The reason I chose lean beef and chicken mince or turkey mince back here in Ireland It's simply because it cooks quicker. It cooks quicker than a diced up chicken fillet or a diced up fillet of steak. So look, I am the simplest and most effective and easiest and simplest chef out there when it comes to meal prep, and I want to make it as easy as possible. So that is why I chose those convenient meats that are already there ready to go for me. How I will do this then is, so my three main source of protein are salmon. That's going in the oven. Seven salmon fillets. Let's fire them in. Let's squeeze a bit of lemon, put a bit of Himalayan salt on it, put it into the oven at about 200 and put the timer on for 25 minutes or so. Cover it in tin foil. It leaves it nice and moist and helps retain all the juices. As that's cooking in the oven, I will then get my two pans out. I will just toss all of my lean steak mince in. In one of them, I will toss all of the turkey or the chicken mince in the other, put the lid on top, and let that just fry away there. I will stir that up accordingly. Next up, then, so I have my three main source of protein. Then we want to talk about fiber and veggies. Again, I'm a lazy cook. All right. Um, I don't really enjoy spending a whole lot of time chopping peppers and onions and mushrooms and all of this. I want to keep it as simple as possible. I want to save as much time as possible. So what I've been doing is just getting frozen vegetables. Keeps it easy, keeps it simple. It's already prepared and chopped up there, ready to go for me. So I will get a lot of frozen veggies. Now, if you do this in advance, what I'd recommend is you take them out of the freezer the night before you cook, or you buy your frozen veggies the day that you're cooking. The reason being is because naturally enough, if they are fully frozen and then you pop them in, they're going to take that bit longer to cook. Whereas what I've been doing is I either buy them the day off and I'll just cook them there and then, or if I know I'm doing a meal prep the night before, I will get a big pot and I will toss them all into it overnight so that they've already somewhat defrosted the following day. Now, frozen veggies, you can choose as you like. Um, what I would recommend is to really load up on non-starchy veg in particular. So you can get frozen spinach, green beans, broccoli, maybe cauliflower, some carrots thrown in there too if you like variety. But just pick and choose your veggies as you choose. For my protein sources, so in terms of grams, I was having about 150 grams of salmon, 200 grams of lean beef, and 200 grams of turkey. I'm now going to change that up to 200 grams of turkey, um, 200 grams of lean beef, and another 200 grams of turkey in a separate meal. So roughly, I'm getting between 550 to 600 grams of lean meat in my meal prep. For my fiber, for my veggies, I want about 200 grams of veggies per meal. So if I'm prepping three meals a day, that means 600 grams of veggies each and every single day. Okay. Now, spread that out then. So I have this storage space and capacity to cook 7 meals, 21 meals in full, but 7 meals for each day of the week. If you do not have the bandwidth to do that, you might just do meal prep for maybe 3 days, store those 3 meals in the fridge, and then do another 3 days. Okay. But that is how I do it with the protein. That is how I do with the fiber. So I just toss up the veg, as I said, into the pot, let it cook. And then when it comes to carbs, so my first meal prep over there in Dubai, I prepped some sweet potatoes, and if I'm being honest, I prefer actually cooking my carbohydrates the day that I'm going to eat the meat or eat the meal. There's no obligation to do this. I just kind of like I batch cook my jasmine rice as well. Actually, rice is much better. I find cooking in a meal prep and just tossing in the lunchbox. I didn't enjoy the sweet potato. I'm not gonna lie as much. I just felt it got a bit soggy. So depending on your carb type, you may or may not want to cook them the day. Batch cook them or just cook them the day off. If you are using rice, rice is absolutely fine to cook in a big pot or cook in the rice cooker and then dish it out accordingly. How much rice and the quantity of rice is obviously going to depend on your goals. For me, I'm not having a whole lot of rice at this time because my calories are quite low. It's only like 50 grams. So I just cook that the more than enough along with my eggs. But that is how I've been doing my meal prep. So I have my three meats, I have lots of my fiber, toss that on, and it literally takes me 1 hour. So I'm stirring up the lean beef, I'm stirring up the chicken. Next thing, the oven is going off and the salmon is ready. As I'm doing that, as I put the salmon out, I will get my 21 lunch boxes, all the same size, dish them out accordingly. So seven, seven, and seven. Toss my seven salmon dishes in there. Next up, all of a sudden, the lean beef is done. So I'll get the lean beef, Get the scoop and just dish it out evenly. The chicken usually takes a small bit longer, but as that is maybe cooking, the veggies might be done. So next up, I'll get the veggies. I will dish that out, roughly 1 or 2 scoops per lunchbox, and I've got all my veggies in. Then all of a sudden, the chicken is done. It's all browned. It's all good, or it's fully cooked. It's good to go, and I'll dish that out. And all of a sudden, I've got 21 meals, seven of which are chicken and veg, seven of which are beef and veg, seven of which are salmon and veg. Now, the final thing that I speak about then is actually herbs and spices. So you choose your own herbs and spice accordingly to make your meal prep tasty. And this is the real key to keeping it consistent. Change up your herbs and spices consistently. I like pink Himalayan salt. I love rice wine vinegar. I sometimes like a curry. I sometimes like paprika. You choose whichever ones you wanna go with to flavor up your meals. Because let's be real, you're going to be eating chicken, you're probably going to be eating beef, you're probably going to be eating salmon for the rest of your life. The taste of that is not going to change, but how you spice it up and how you add the herbs and spices, that can make a big difference to the consistency and to the enjoyment of that meal. So one thing I would recommend just with herbs and spices is to not get anything from a jar. Instead, get it in a powder form. Let's say, for example, the Uncle Ben's, the big jar of ready-made sweet and sour chicken curry. You'd probably be better off getting that in powder format and just making your own curry sauce there instead, just because simply it's lower in calories and it will save you some additional calories if you are on a fat loss journey. Okay. But that is effectively how I meal prep 1 week of meals in 1 hour for less than €3 a meal. So this actually does work out quite cheaply when you buy it in bulk and when you batch cook it out there. Saves me a lot of time, saves me a lot of money, and most important, helps me stay consistent. How my meals are at the moment is meal one, it is salmon with some veggies and a small bit of rice in the morning. I know not your typical meal one or your breakfast. Then I will train probably an hour and a half or 2 hours later. Post-workout meal will be protein oats, so I'll just cook those as I go. It is at the moment 80 grams of oats, 1 scoop of whey with some dark chocolate, 10 grams of dark chocolate melted in there, and about 30 grams of blueberries. Meal three, then, so this I keep carb free. This will be my lean beef, and it's the lean beef with veggies. I might even cook some more veggies if I feel that I'm quite hungry, or toss some spinach there in the side. And I'll also have an egg or two thrown in there as well, just to get some more fats in. And then meal four, so it's chicken, it is the veggies, it is the rice with the stir fry. I might add in another egg there as well, depending on my calories, and add some veggies there to the last meal of the day. But that is how I am eating and preparing for stepping up in stage inside less than 6 weeks now. As of recording this goes live. And the meal prep has been the biggest game changer for me. You do have time. I would rather you, and I don't know, I say this to my clients all the time. I'd rather you miss an hour in the gym and use that hour to get your meal prep done than the other way around. That is how important it is. It is an absolute game changer. So if you're a busy worker now, you may not need to prep a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner. You might just need to prep your lunch and you might have time to cook your dinner. Or you might need to prep your lunch and dinner. You probably don't need to go as extreme as I do and do 21 meals. Now, in terms of actually storage, then, so if I do my meal prep on a Sunday, I will store Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays in the fridge, and I will then freeze Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If I want, and then for Thursday's meal, I'll take it out the night before on Wednesday, leave it out, and it'll be fully defrosted by the morning, and I'll just heat it up in the microwave. That is exactly how I do it. You can do it a different way if it suits, but that is what's helped me lose 9 kilos in just about 10 weeks or so. And if you want to do the same or something similar, I would highly recommend you could take more control of what you're putting into your mouth. And one of the most simplest and most effective way to do that is meal prep. Now, if you don't want to do it for the full week or you want a bit more variety, what you can always do for some of our clients is I'll recommend them to use today's dinner for tomorrow's lunch and just keep rolling, repeating that. So look, there's no harm cooking a bit more. Sarah Butler, you heard about her speaking about this too. Cook a bit more chicken, cook a bit more veggies. They're going to be eaten. So that's another alternative if you don't want to do it for the full week and you want a bit more variety. For me, I've no problem eating the same three meals for a full week and then swapping it up and changing a few things up every week. If you're someone who wants more variety, add that variety in. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can also do bi-weekly if you don't have a whole lot of freezer space there available. So how that would work would be you could do a meal prep on Sunday for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and do another cook on Wednesday for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Regardless of how you want to do it, all for the week, yesterday's lunch for or yesterday's dinner for tomorrow's lunch, or half and half. I would really highly recommend meal prepping because the more you take control of what you're putting into your mouth, the more actually weight you will likely lose because when you're eating out, I will say it's very, very difficult to get a meal out in a restaurant for less than 1,200 calories or 1,000 calories even at a push there. But you need to factor in things like oils, how the food was cooked, and so on. So just taking more control of your food, it really will be a game changer for you. And if you're someone who said, I've a lot of stubborn fat to lose, I would question how you're defining stubborn and if you're just mixing that up with not being consistent enough. And one of the best ways to be consistent with your food is to have it prepared in advance. So I would highly recommend, as I said, meal prep. It's helped me a ton and hopefully it helps you out as well. If you did get value from the show, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in next week's episode for another episode of the Lifestyle Lifter Show.